Our hearts have become too hard. No matter what is happening around the world by Allah, and I am making a qasam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the effects and the issues of the ummah are not entering our hearts. A few weeks ago we noticed images coming from Syria of people, our brothers and sisters, our elders and children eating the leaves of trees. Our hearts were touched for a couple of days. But by Allah, what happened a week after that? Now it's been 2 weeks. Has anything changed in your life? Have you made any type of improvement or worship? Or have you tried to help these individuals at all? You have maybe you've given $50. Some of you, may Allah reward you, have given a lot more. But we're not talking about just individuals, we're talking as an ummah. Our hearts have become so hard that nothing can penetrate it apart from the dunya. Meaning, the only thing that's going to change the way that you feel is by gaining more of the dunya. And unfortunately, that's going to move you away from what? From the hereafter. It's going to move you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to move you away from your Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. By Allah, this dunya is cursed. As we know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This dunya is cursed, and everything that is in it is cursed. Except what? The remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and anything like that. So the only thing that you're going to benefit from this dunya is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now you need to judge yourself. I'm not here to judge any of you. And my dear brothers who's asleep on the walls, wake up. I keep saying this every time I come. You're most probably sick of me saying this, but wake up. And this is my issue now. We're asleep at Jummah, we're asleep in our prayer, we're asleep day and night, but when you're working, you're awake, your eyes are open. Wake up. As I mentioned, I'm talking to your heart. Because enough's enough. I came, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, to the masjid for Isha. And mind you, I've been away and I've been hiding at home because I'm depressed. The Prophet ﷺ, in his time, you might think, how could he do that? The Prophet ﷺ moved away from the whole community for a month. Away from his wives, he just wanted to be alone. So sometimes it gets to you, looking at our community, and you think, what is going on? You can't think the way that we're thinking. We can't move forward until we change ourselves. Ignorance is amongst us. By Allah, we could ask simple questions about Islam, and the majority of you, and Allah knows best, will not be able to answer. And many of you have been in the religion for so many years. You've had your bid for so many years. You've been coming to the masjid for so many years. But you can't give out the basics of Islam. And how many more Muslims are falling into major sins? Due to what? Due to our love for the dunya. So we need to crack this heart. We need to break this heart. We need to shatter this heart so that we can wake up and come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, in a beautiful narration, and you notice many of the words of the Prophet ﷺ are very small, are very short. They don't need to be long. He said that this world for the believer is what? Is a prison. This world that you're living in, oh believer, because every one of you here state that you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You believe in Allah, listen to your Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's saying that this dunya is a prison for you. And it's a Jannah for whom? For the disbeliever. So what you see in this dunya is nothing. It's garbage. It's a prison. Because, you know, the worst thing in this world is that you could be put in prison. You lose all your freedom. True? Oh my God, this brother got locked up. This person got locked up. You think, oh, that's it. His whole life is gone. So the Prophet ﷺ, he is mentioning to you that you're locked up in this dunya. Your freedom has been taken away from you because what is left in the hereafter is much, much greater. Is much greater. So what are you working for? What are you all working for? For the dunya? Because many brothers are working for the dunya and that's it. Many sisters are working for the dunya and that's it. So this world is cursed and everything in it is cursed, subhanAllah. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created paradise and created the hellfire. He ordered Jibreel alayhi salam and he said to him, go and have a look at Jannah. Paradise. What we're talking about, Jannah, what we're fighting for. Yes, what we're working for, or what we're supposed to be working for. Go and have a look at it. Jibreel alayhi salam, and many of you have heard this narration many times. He went and looked at it. He came back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said, and he was astonished, oh Allah, whoever hears, not sees, whoever just hears about Jannah will enter it, because you're going to start working hard. Jannah, you want to enter paradise? You're going to start working for it, just about hearing about the beauty of Jannah, subhanallah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put hardship around Jannah, because you have to work hard. Then He said, go back and have a look. Go back and have a look at Jannah. So he went back to look at Jannah. He came back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he feared for us. He feared for us that we would not enter it because of these little bits and pieces of hardship, subhanallah. But when he was ordered to go and look at Jahannam, the hellfire, he came back and he noticed that the hellfire was engulfing itself. It was eating itself, subhanallah. He came back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he mentioned that whoever hears about the hellfire will not enter it because of how scary it is. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put desires around Jahannam, around the hellfire, and He said, go back and look at it. Now this is your test and my test. This is where it's crunch time. Do you fall for your desires, or do you just go through a little bit of hardship in this dunya so that you can get the hereafter? And this is a choice for all of us. Now my dear brothers and sisters, this week has been a very hectic week for myself. I got a phone call from my cousin. He said his uncle from his side had passed away. I went there and I sat down. As the normal Lebanese gatherings, they come, you know, they're all in the backyard. They're giving out coffee and tea and dates and whatnot. A whole group of shabab, youth, are outside just talking. And the old men are sitting inside smoking and all these sort of things, and I just couldn't believe it. It's like, what's going on? We're noticing death in front of our eyes, but it doesn't change us at all. And yesterday I got a phone call from an old dear friend. He said, my mother is in hospital right now and she's dying. Death is all around us, but we're not taking heed. We're not remembering that we have to change and we have to work hard. And your main obligation in this world is to what? Is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing else, subhanallah. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one day he's walking with the companions in the marketplace. And in the narration it mentioned those people on both sides of the market. He came across a sheep that was deformed and dead. Imagine a dead carcass. It was on the side. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to take every opportunity to teach his companions and to teach his ummah. So the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went up to the carcass. He grabbed it by the ear and he said to his companions, who would buy this for dirham? Which one of you would buy this carcass, this dead, smelly carcass, this deformed carcass for 1 dirham? And the companion said, Ya Rasulullah, what are we going to do with it? We won't buy it for 1 dirham. He said, okay, take it for free. They said, Ya Rasulullah, even if it was alive, this carcass, if this sheep was alive, it's deformed. We wouldn't even want it if it was alive. And then the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to them, he said, this dunya, this world, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like this dead carcass to you. Meaning this world means nothing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and us, the humans, are fighting day and night for what? For this dunya. This dunya is like a smelly dead carcass that no one would even look at. You know, when you go past something that's dead and smelly, you look at it, you get repulsed. You don't want to go near it. So where are you and I, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam? Many of us think that we're going to live forever, and this is unfortunate, subhanallah. It's so sad seeing the ummah thinking it's going to live forever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, that every soul, every living thing will die. Simple. You know for sure you're going to die, and everyone's saying, yes, I know I'm going to die. But you don't wake up daily thinking, you know, today might be my last day. Today may be my last day. A sheikh from Saudi Arabia, he used to watch the dead. He said 2 men were brought to him that had passed away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed that they passed away. 2 men. One was name was Muhammad and the other one's name was Usama. He said he had the obligation to wash Usama. So there was the sheikh himself and 2 others washing Usama and 3 others washing Muhammad. He said when Usama came to me, he was in a very, very, very bad state. He had been involved in a car accident where they actually flew out of the car. And Usama came smashing onto the ground where his head, his skull had been smashed. The Shaykh mentioned that you could actually see his brain, and by Allah, a few years ago or a year ago, I remember almost this sight by one of our reverts who had been hit by a train. And it reminded me of that day, subhanAllah. So the Shaykh mentioned he had come. He mentioned that he had to cut away his clothing. There was so much blood and dirt and glass still stuck in his body. They had to cut away his clothing. They had to clean him up. They had to take the glass out of his body, subhanAllah. And when he looked at his face, subhanAllah, he mentioned he was so young. He was only 23 years old. How old are you, my dear brothers? How old are you, my dear sisters? I'm 42 this year. And this brother died at 23. He said we cleansed him. And what he had to do, because his skull was actually crushed, he had to put some type of things inside of his head so that the skin and hair would actually rest properly. Because they had to present him in front of the family, subhanAllah. But he said when he started to make wudu for him after the ritual washing, he said he noticed on Usama's face a smile. And he called the other two, he said, is that a smile that I can see on his face? And they said, Ya Shaykh, wallah, it looks like a smile. Allah knows best. It seems as if he's smiling. So they finished the washing and shrouding. He went outside and the father came with tears. Imagine your son dying before you. Imagine your daughter dying before you. Tears are coming from the father's face. Ya Shaykh, have you finished? And he said, no, I've finished. I've finished completing the washing. And he told him, be patient. Be patient for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he saw the brother and he said, by Allah, Usama's brother looked exactly like him. And he started to ask him certain questions and all these sort of things, and he told him to be patient. And Usama's brother, out of respect, smiled at the Shaykh and he said, you know what, by Allah, that look on Usama's face, the one that is dead, must be a smile, because when his brother smiled, it was exactly the same look, subhanAllah. He said, tell me about Usama. Because when you see something in front of you, you start to think and wonder, was he a righteous person? Especially with a smile on his face, subhanAllah. He said, Ya Shaykh, by Allah, I give you glad tidings that alhamdulillah, Usama died today and not 3 months ago. And I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just think about this. He's starting to think now, why is he so happy that Usama passed away? He said 3 months prior, Usama did not even pray. He never made ruku', he never made sujood, he never read the Quran. He was disobedient to his parents. Now I'm asking you people that are here today who only pray on Friday. I'm asking you people who know of other Muslims that don't pray, who are in these situations, that don't make ruku' or sujood or pray to Allah, or don't even lift up the Quran. And for you young brothers who are disobedient to your parents. He said, by Allah, Ya Shaykh, he used to hang out on the streets with the gangs. They used to get up to mischief. They used to get up to no good. Then 3 months ago, he just changed. He returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He repented sincerely back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 3 months prior. He started to pray. He started to read the Quran. He used to get up at tahajjud. He said, by Allah, every single prayer was made in the masjid. And he kept praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said to the Shaykh, oh Shaykh, please don't think, I'm not worried about the death of my brother. But alhamdulillah, he died today and not 3 months ago. Because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what would have been his outcome in the hereafter. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, you may think that you're young. You may think that you have many years ahead of you. But this is only with, the knowledge of this is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same Shaykh that was mentioned in the first story, he said he was in Mecca one day. And he said that he was giving a lecture to some youth about being obedient to one's parents. As he was talking about the punishment of being disobedient to the parent, there was a guy in the audience, he started to cry. And the Shaykh mentioned it wasn't just tears, he was weeping. And he did not stop crying until the end of the lesson. The Shaykh mentioned that at the end of the talk, he was about to go home. He said he saw that same person walking towards him with another friend. And the friend went to the Shaykh and said, Ya Shaykh, he said, my friend needs to speak to you. It's very, very important. He said, Tayyib, what's the problem? And then the same person started to weep like a baby. He said, his tears made myself cry. So the Shaykh started to cry with him, subhanAllah. He said, Ya akhi, what is wrong? What is the problem? What's going on in your life? He said, Ya Shaykh, Ummi. Oh Shaykh, my mother. He said, what's wrong with your mother? He said, my mother is a woman who used to fast Mondays and Thursdays. Only one Monday, she called me and she said to me, oh my son, I'm fasting today. She's fasting Monday, a sunnah. I'm fasting today, please. I want to break my fast on some laban, on some milk, on some dates, yes, and a few little things. He said, khalas, no problem. He went to work, as many of us go to work. And he said he became so busy within that day that he had forgotten. He got home after Maghrib, not before Maghrib, after Maghrib. And he walked in and he noticed that his mum had broken her fast on a cup of water. He said, Ya Shaykh, and he started to weep even more. He said, Ya Shaykh, she had nothing else but that water. She had no food in the house apart from that cup of water. And she had broken her fast on that cup. He goes, I started to blame myself. How did I forget? What kind of individual am I? How did I forget my own mother? That she broke her fast on a cup of water. He said, he went to an individual, he started to say what he done, and he said, by Allah, I forgot. So that individual said to him, look, make it up to her. Make it up. And said, that's it, I'm going to make it up. On Thursday she'll be fasting, I'm going to make her a feast. I'm going to bring her the best of foods. He said, but on Tuesday, Monday she was fasting. Tuesday she got sick and went into hospital. Now you can automatically imagine what happened next. Tuesday she got sick. He said, when I went to visit her in the hospital, all I could remember her was breaking her fast on that water. That's all he could remember. He said, by Wednesday, he tried to organize everything for Thursday while she was fasting, if she was going to get better. By Wednesday, she had passed away. He said, Ya Shaykh, I could not make up what I had done wrong. I couldn't make up to her what I had wronged her. I couldn't feed her. I forgot about her. And now she's gone. And this, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, wallahi, we could use this for the ummah. Because we're forgetting the ummah. Think of this mother, think of this lady as the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We're forgetting them. So what are you going to do in your life to change? And I heard number one, not about giving. I'm not talking about giving funds. I'm talking about your acts of worship. I'm talking about your worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the main thing, because money comes and goes easily. When we stand in prayer, make sure that you're worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a sincere heart.